A lot of things have been touched already, especially with the regulatory issue and the missing market pressure behind. I think the answer from my presentation is quite easy to tell. We need more market, definitely, and not re-regulation in any kind to make complexity higher, to pay a lot of money just to find out that we follow the right regulation. So maybe I would be the best thing. I give you a kind of lessons learned from Verbund side. Thank you for the invitation. I'm not here for the first time. The reason is that Verbund Group was and is very committed to this south or south-southeast region since decades, I would say. So we have also, let's say, some experience found out over this last decade. And if you agree, I give you some of the latest assessments from our side. Starting with Slovenia, the magic triangle. Our approach was always to act as an asset-based trader to find out if the regulations, the stakeholders, how they are performing, and then finally to decide to enter maybe into an asset investment in this country. This did not work in Slovenia, so we closed our office some years ago. We made, let's say, we found out some progress in Slovenia on the wholesale market, but let's say the market is also very a small one, but there's a certain rule in this magic triangle, as I called it always, let's say Croatia, Slovenia, Italy, and Austria, to be active as in a transparent wholesale market. Second, Croatia, a long tradition with our company, also with your former managements, with respect to find out also the best way of organize such groups. Like we are, last experience in the wind power sector, teaming up with a local player, no progress over years, very intransparent situation, so we finally decided to sell our stake there in this project and to also, let's say, to concentrate only in the case the country would perform for the wholesale market as it was at the beginning foreseen. Next country, Albania. We opened quite some months ago one of the most modern hydropower stations there on a new technology basis, matrix turbines, very important for flexible water flows, outcome heavy payment defaults from the government and the governmental organizations like cash, legal case not to be excluded. By Albania, one could ask crazy Austrians, the idea was, let's say, to find this also magic triangle, Albania, Macedonia, Greece, to be active there in an integrated market and to have the one or other asset in the back. Next, I mentioned Greece. Greece joint venture, very, very positive in the development on the first way, but with very complex ideas with respect to tax optimizations. So finally, you can imagine, before the crisis, so we decided to sell our stake to our partner there and say, make your freedom wherever you want in Cyprus, but not with Verbund, because of course this is a no-go for companies like ours in the corporate governance issue to act such in a creative, let's say it this way, in a creative way. Next experience, Turkey, very positive, one of the very positive examples, even when we went out last year or this year from Turkey, teaming up with a big industrial group there, investment program for roughly 5,000 megawatts installed, half hydro, half thermal power stations. Heavy pressure from the currency issue with the instability of the currency. And so we are coming back now to Europe since, let's say, our income from the wholesale prices from our more or less 30 terawatt hours hydro production in our core country, Austria and then Germany, we had to find out that we are not prepared anymore to invest in an increasing Turkish market. And so we had the idea and found out a partner with E.ON where E.ON was committed to invest additional money into, let's say, roughly 8,000 to 10,000 megawatt installed of a new entrant company in Turkey. And we swapped our participation against hydropower stations in Germany. So it's a kind of home market extension for us, having from the first day on a cash in from the existing power stations and not waiting for the new ones to invest with also some risk. Every power station has also its risks, also the hydropower station, as we know from the geological point of view. So on this side, very positive. Coming to Bulgaria, wind farm performing perfect, but 50% not to be interconnected, also very intransparent way. So we are rethinking now to exit from Bulgaria. Romania, very positive, more or less 200 megawatts wind farms in place, in operation, working perfectly. We built our own substation on the 400 kV network level. But you're all aware of the situation. Romania wants to reduce this certificate system to be not retroactively, but a kind of backloading. Backloading is in, as we know from the European Union, with the CO2 situation. And the newest announcements to implement a new tax on the burden of the renewable investors, especially foreign investors. So you can imagine we are also rethinking our situation in Romania, how to proceed and stop immediately another 80 megawatt wind farm in this region, already prepared from the first day on to be implemented, all the contracts settled with the suppliers. So let's say also not so positive story. Coming close to Austria, Hungary, I don't have to tell you the story with the Robin Hood tax. We immediately after 1 year closed our office there in Hungary, and just to react on this, let's say, not very EU-friendly regulation in Hungary. But what I want to say is it is not a pure problem of the region, or to accuse this region that the things are somehow mixed, because Turkey, not a member state, was for us a very positive success story. You can see it also as a listed company in our balance sheet. But let's say all in all, it's let's say a sector pressure which was created by some let's say not very selective decisions in the European Union, and especially also in national regulations like the German EEG, for example. Closing our circuit, our small circuit, as you know, Verbund, we are not the big player like RWE or E.ON, but we are so in this middle range like the Swiss colleagues and so on. So very active on the one hand, but let's say also very straightforward with respect to measures we have to take. Austria, we are lucky that the Austrian end consumer pays only 1 or 25% of the amount of a German final customer with respect to this subsidy amount for the new renewables. Reason, our government brought in some quotas, looking if these quotas are increased or not, so not a mistake like Germany to open up a big window and not being in a position to stop it. On the other hand, let's say this wholesale zone is already linked, yes, not only because of market coupling, because the wholesale prices are more or less done in the big exchanges, where you have the merit order principle, where let's say this big mistake happened, where let's say a market tool what cannot be influenced because it's a black box, and whatever the outcome is of the price, this is the outcome. The regulation implemented zero cost technology from one side of this merit order curve and took out, let's say, all the very competitive new technology, especially like the gas sector. And this is the reason why we closed down a lot of the most modern gas power stations, high efficiency, low CO2 CO2 footprint, and are operating, also we in Austria, 2 coal power stations, because the outcome is at least a black zero in the result and not a negative, significant negative impact on the balance like with a new CCGT, which is unbelievable what happened under this European regulation. Germany, I mentioned, it's, let's say, especially this alpine area, very important for us, teaming up also with Swiss colleagues just to try to find, let's say, these green batteries, as it's called, where every politician say how important these storage facilities are, but have a look to your balance sheet, we are close to impairment, because it's quite easy, the spread went down significantly, because you have in the peak hours your photovoltaics, in the peak hours, so this calculation, what we did 7 years ago, triggering the investment is wrong, totally wrong, 100% wrong. So, and you see all the big the big storage power projects are blocked in Germany, and also we are only, let's say, fulfilling our obligations to finalize the last big one quite close to the Slovenian border, as you may know. Next experience, France. Yes, good performance in the wholesale market. We were there as a wholesale trader. We supplied SNCF, Federal Railways, big industries, but we underestimated the re-regulation of the government in the former government, where there was a blockage of the tariffs for the final customer. To understand pragmatically for a politician like Sarkozy was, we called it, for our colleague from the States, we called it the California syndrome, where the wholesale prices are higher than the retail prices. Yes, and the same mistake started in France. So we sold our joint venture in the retail business and kept our assets there. Also 2 very new CCGT power stations, almost impaired to zero, but hoping now for the capacity market where the, let's say, the TSO RTE gives a signal that 2016 there should be the need for the security of supply to have, let's say, capacities, not only capacities with a significant energy behind in place. Coming down then to Italy, last not least, also a disaster, also including the general economic situation, what whole Europe suffers. I'm fully following the argumentation from our colleagues from the industry, and we from our sector, we are sub-supplier for them, yes, same supplier situation we have like for the car industry, where the sub-suppliers suffer extremely on this downturn. And so in Italy we have roughly 4,000 megawatts on thermal power stations, which have been designed for, let's say, 4,000 hours to be in the market. We have now somehow some 100, if we have some 100 hours of utilization there, where we make some Mickey Mouse money for the regulation of the network, but let's say unable to repay the debts for these investments. So this is more or less not a Verbund story, because look to the big impairments. Maybe you could have this article quite recently, where out of this way of Europe, which is simplified by, let's say, by a comment from the commissioner from Oettinger, where he said, where he is in principle right, where he said the energy prices must not increase to keep the competitiveness of our industry in Europe. Okay, perfect. It's not a problem of the energy price, he forgot to say, but of the added amounts for subsidies, where, by the way, some industries are exempt, like in Germany, where we have, within short, a case in Brussels. Second message from him was, the way to the renewable age cannot be blocked. Perfect. Yes, we can go this way, should go this way, because climate change was a priority target for all these regulations. But what happened, let's say, in this inner circle of processes, regulations, was a big mistake, to say it politely, because the whole sector of energy, the top 20, where we are Mickey Mouse, yes, we also impaired this year 1.3 billion euro for our investments, and we have been happy to balance this in our balance sheet because of the exit of Turkey. Otherwise, it would be a disaster, easy for any economist or manager to understand. But the whole sector of the top 20 European players in the energy field lost, impaired, or whatever polite word you find, we impaired 500 billion euro within the last 3 or 4 years. This is more compared to the financial sector in Europe, definitely. And it's proven, this figure, because you can calculate, look to the share price only, to the big players. Yes, Aon and RWE lost 150 out of these 500, so this is a reasonable number. And we should immediately team up now unfortunately, after the European elections, which is another year until a new commission will be in charge. It will be autumn, definitely. Really to reshuffle this regime within short. Yes, we have to expect shakeouts in this economy, a traditional economy where, let's say, the infrastructure of any of our countries was, from the security point of view, settled, yes, efficient, settled, and this is on a very destructive way. So this was very negative for the lunch. Now we have to manage it because we get paid also as managers to solve these issues. It's not easy. It's a tough job what we have now. It's not a sunshine job anymore to think about whom to attribute the dividends or how to protect to pay dividends and to keep it for your investments. So what is the final conclusion, at least not only for our company, it is, let's say, general rule right now, investments frozen as far as possible. After your question, who will invest and where you will only invest in regulated business, means in networks, in grids, and in regulated new renewable, in case the subsidies are kept. And nobody will invest from the private sector in a competitive area, like to invest in a power station or whatsoever. And this is more or less cost-cutting, re-engineering, everything we called or we know from our management skills since decades. Let's say they can give some room, but they will never give the room in a company in the sector to, let's say, to cover these heavy impairments every company has to face. And so therefore, it's very important to have this urgent, or to cover this urgent need for a re-regulation. You can call it market redesign, a new market model, a new merit order. Quite interesting, the capacity story. We know what happened, or shortly mentioned from our colleague from the States, on the role of a capacity market, if it is designed on the right way. I understand our industry that they can afford that there is additional amounts of money to be paid for capacities. So both sides are important to act on the demand side, as was already mentioned, as well as on the flexible assets like the hydropower pump storage stations to balance this high volatile area of that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry that I did not follow, but I think you can find it in the booklet of the conference. These things are more or less a pragmatic listing of all the things which were already tackled by our former presentations. And I hope you could get some impression, and it would be great to discuss one other issue. It's not as negative as in this very comprehensive approach, but I think it's time to think how to manage. Thank you.